like I said, we're here today to talk about the mind. The mind is a necessary place, a necessary piece of the trifecta, the mind, body, soul combination that is so important for us to nourish and nurture and grow. And, our minds can be really, really powerful. And when you aren't working with your mind, everything else will kind of like control you. And when you do make the shift to start working with your mind and get into a more positive mindset, you can find empowerment, you can find freedom from stress, you can notice that your anxiety and your worry is minimalized, just a more joyful, peaceful existence. You can experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and self confidence when you start to shape your mind and work with your mind. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we dive in, though, I'm going to go ahead and formally introduce myself and share with you a little bit about how we ended up here today. So, of course, my name is Kate Frautschy. I am a 200-hour registered yoga teacher. I am a certified Hoop Yogini SAS instructor. I just went through my certification videos for the next level last night, so I'm really excited to be announced that I'm a certified Hoop Yogini SAS or Hoop Yogini instructor without anything on the end. Anyways, that's been a really fun journey. I'm also a published author. I am a huge advocate for womb wellness and all kinds of other goodness. I really just the core of everything is just to encourage individuals to forget the box and embrace the flow. That's kind of my logo, forget the box and embrace the flow. A lot of lines or stories have been given to us. We can forget that. We can erase those lines. We can draw our own box, and it doesn't have to be a square box. It can look like whatever you want to. So that's kind of at the core of my mission. I share tools to facilitate experiences, to germinate beautiful life, mind, body, soul through yoga, Reiki, breath work, all of that really nourishing stuff. I really want to see every individual stand boldly in their integrity, shine in their authenticity, and embody their purpose, their passion, and shine. Just shine, because we need your light. I also operate within the 4 pillars of my business called the PIMP standards. I always like to make everything practical, intentional, magical, and present. So those 4 components, I think really, they're important. Being practical, having things that are accessible and usable. Intention is everything. We're going to talk about that. Magical, because magic is everywhere if you choose to see it. And then, of course, present, because present moment awareness and being present in the things that you do is so important. So those are my PIMP standards. This collaboration, this Trifecta Transmissions, this what we're doing here today, kind of arose from a desire on both Amanda and mine's part to communicate the magnificent power we all hold as individuals to heal ourselves. We are our own wisest guides. We just have to tap into that. We can connect deeply with source energy as well as connect deeply with those around us. And being human is really, really hard, right? Like, I think we can all agree on that. And figuring out the way when chaos is everywhere makes things a little bit harder. So we today, Amanda and I, want to speak to and share what we have found through our own experiences and through our own training to be effective, simple, transformative tools and practices that can cultivate healthy coping mechanisms, help create the healthy habits and routines that you're trying to create for yourself, and also sharing some beneficial practices, mind, body, soul, and so on and so forth. And we also want to help you find your own way to experience that enhanced quality of life that we all look for in that personal development. You deserve to feel joy. You deserve to feel peace. You deserve to feel worthy, and you really do deserve to show up for yourself. So, you also deserve to hear what this amazing lady has to say. This is Amanda Tippett. She is a valuable member of my personal spiritual posse. Just like anything else within your trifecta, having healthy relationships and support is really, really important. It's a must. And I am so honored and grateful to have Amanda here today and have her help me express the importance of a healthy mind, because she has just a wealth of knowledge. So Amanda, go ahead and introduce yourself to the Batcave.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you it's an honor. It is such an honor to be here. It's such an honor to work with Kate. You're in the right place. If this resonates with you, obviously it does. You're here. You're in the right place. And it is such a joy to work together, because when you find spiritual mentors and people that can help you strengthen all parts of your life, mind, body, soul, it's so important. Kate does that for me. So my name's Amanda Tippett. I'm a certified hypnotist, a bioenergetic synchronization technique practitioner, and a nutrition and wellness educator facilitator. I love health and wellness. It is a passion of mine, because I know that focusing on the body and brings us to a higher level of self. It promotes living the best version of who you are and releasing so much that we deserve in life. I've been practicing hypnosis since 2011. My business is called Red Tail Hawk Hypnosis and Wellness, and I became a best practitioner last year in January. My experience has been I've done some public speaking. I used to be a national and quarterly speaker for Wisconsin Association Against Sexual Assault. It was such an honor to do that. But I'm just very passionate about bringing the integrative wellness approach to the community, here to you, because I am so passionate about it. So my initial path actually started, I'm going to give you guys a little tip here. It started with watching this movie years ago called The Secret. You might have heard of it. So I was introduced to the law of attraction, and it completely changed the trajectory of my life. Opened so many doors. And you'll find that too when you learned more about the mind and the things that best serve you, and you start unlocking those doors, things just start opening. So when I started unlocking that law of attraction and really focusing on my mind, again, all those doors opened, and that's not a coincidence. That's the power of the mind. So when we're not working with our thoughts, they can take control. So my journeys, my studies, my certifications and work have just provided me with a very deep, deep purpose and understanding of how the power of our thoughts, the power of nutrition and movement connect us to our higher self. And it has really empowered me to just want to share the information with the world and lead others to the best life that they can live. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you so much for being here.
So now you guys can see why I asked Amanda to join me today. And so, a couple of questions to kind of maybe get you into the space and maybe get you into that, into this space. Let's come into this space a little bit. Let's take a minute and inhale, close the eyes and cross the legs. Drop into this space before we really dive into meat and potatoes. Taking a moment to center and focus the mind helps us to receive the messages that we are meant to receive in the spaces that we show up to. Nice big full breath as you exhale, release the shoulders, relax, release the jaw, and then you can open your eyes. So, a couple of questions, like I was saying before, have you been feeling stuck? Have you been feeling lost? Have you been feeling stressed? Are you trying to create lasting habits that are accessible and practical? Do you want to have a life of joy and health? I'm assuming that we either all raised our hands for all of them or at least one of them, and that is good because you are in the right place. I really, when I share, I just deeply desire to see all individuals experience that personal freedom from the old outdated programming and beliefs that just is not serving us anymore. It's keeping us stuck. And I also personally, I deeply desire to live a life with minimal stress and anxiety. And I know that I'm not the only one. I have that deep desire to just reach all of you with the message today that you are enough. You are your own guru. Your unique gifts are needed in this world. And I and Amanda, I think, deeply desire to help uncover that true nature within as love in each individual. And then, of course, through radical acceptance and support, help that light turn all the way up because we need that light at full blast. All right. So before Amanda shares about the mind, I think it's really important to talk about the difference between goals and intentions, because many times when we try to make changes to better our lives and change our mindset, we do that by setting a bunch of goals, and then it creates this thing where we're like, well, I failed, what we really need to be doing is to be setting intentions and then creating our goals around those tensions, or using the intentions to set your goals. So what is the difference then? What is the difference between goals and intentions? Goals, the future is always the focus. Okay. It's always like, are you going to reach that goal? Will you be happy when you do? What's next? And goals are really helpful in creating that framework for which you can accomplish and experience success, and that fuels your forward motion. So goals are important. Goals help you to make your place in the world and to be an effective person. Being grounded in your intention is what helps to provide the integrity and unity in your life. Okay. Being grounded in your intention is what provides integrity and unity in your life. That is really important. So as you learn to cultivate right intention, you learn to make wise goals and work hard towards achieving them without getting caught up in that attachment to outcome. And the goals are the actions that you can take to create the changes in your life that more closely align with the way you want to be in any given moment. That is your integrity, and your intention, how you want to be in any given moment. And so your goals are those actions. And it's great. Goals are good, but we want to make the differentiation between the two of them. So what are intentions then? Intentions are the way that you want to be, Intentions are not oriented in that future outcome. The intention is what provides you with self-respect and peace of mind. So I wanted to share this quote because I think it's really powerful. As you gain insight through meditation, wise reflection, and moral living, your ability to act from your intentions blossoms. It is a path or practice that is focused on how you are being in the present moment. It is called a practice because it is an ever renewing process. You don't just set your intentions and then forget about them. You live them every day. So, intentions. Everything starts with intentions. You guys have heard me say this over and over and over again. Everything starts with intention. It's one of my pillars, one of my pimp pillars, intention. So these are some questions that you might be able to ask yourself to kind of see where you're at. Take a little inventory. Are you present as you explore something new or something familiar? Is your mind already wandering to the next thing as you're sitting here listening to us, or maybe as you're doing the dishes, like your mind's already wandering? Or maybe your to-do list is ever present and running no matter what you're doing. Are you wanting what you want for personal advancement or the greatest good of all? It's a really good question to see where that intention truly lies. Right and good intentions always come from the heart. That's another thing that I am very adamant about, is trying to operate from the heart space. Some more questions to ponder. What would it look like if you didn't measure the success of your life just by what you get and what you don't get? Because this is something that has been programmed to us in our society. What if you gave equal or greater priority to how aligned you are with your deepest values? Can you imagine that shift? As you work with your intentions, know that you're not giving up your desire for achievement or a better life. No, in fact, you're infusing that, you're growing that. You are not binding yourself to be morally perfect. We are human. We're going to mess up. That's where that forgiveness piece comes in. It's where you can just easily forgive yourself. Stay in that intention. You are committing to living each moment with the intention of not causing harm with your words or your actions, and not violating others through your livelihood or sexuality. That's pretty much the framework of being a good human. So I think you guys got that covered, right? So right intention is a state of mind that you gradually develop. You're not going to just decide to walk away from the live and have this brand new mindset. It is a process. Trust the process. And as you cultivate the right intention, you're actually able to experience the possibility of peace beyond the fluctuations caused by pain or pleasure or gain or loss. You're able to experience that possibility of peace when maybe that goal isn't reached, but you're still in those intentions. So that's what the difference is between intentions and goals, and why that's important to make that distinguishment. So, it is your intention that affects how you interpret what comes into your mind. So now Amanda's going to share with us about this mind.
The mind, such a complex space, isn't it? But what I just want to share with you are some really easy tools. And I am not kidding when I'm telling you it's easy to implement it into your day. It's not always easy to, I guess we're always a little bit hard on ourselves. I'll get to that a little bit, but what gets me really excited, like when Kate's talking about all these goals and intentions, that's important because that starts the structure, right? The foundation. But Kate had mentioned freedom from outdated programming and beliefs. So the tools that I will talk about will help with that. So you don't have to stay stuck. Now, I think a lot of us, that's where we get frustrated, as we think, well, I set this goal and now I'm frustrated because I can't get there. When you run into that resistance, it's typically because of some old programming, or maybe not finding the right tools, or maybe looking at it in a way that we just need to tweak a little bit. And that's okay. But I just want you guys to understand this. So when we're in a sense, or when we're in a state of like worry, stress, anxiousness, we actually turn off the power to pull in what we do desire. It actually almost blocks it. So when you implement these tools, not only will it help you reach your goals, it almost just cracks you open to receiving the abundance that we all deserve. It's so exciting and it's so powerful. So like I said, if you've tried to change and you just can't, or you're in that state of stress and you can't, these are some very practical, powerful tools to help you set those goals and intentions. And Kate mentioned something, I have to write down all these notes. Like when she's talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. So align with your deepest values. These practices, you guys, open the door to the true self. So even if you don't know how to set the intention, if you just start the practices, you'll find you again, and you'll find those intentions. So it's so important to do this. So everything starts with attention. And the reason it's so important to implement these practices, I'm going to talk about 3 of them, right? It's going to be mindfulness, meditation, and self-hypnosis. They're like a garden. So if you picture, or just imagine for a moment, right, that you planted a garden and you have a row of flowers, and then you plant a row of weeds, and a row of flowers, and a row of weeds. And we're going to water that garden every day. What happens? You know, does the flower grow? Do the weeds grow? Or do they both grow? Well, they both grow. And if you want those flowers to bloom brightly, picture that garden as your mind. So if we don't take control of the mind and our thoughts, those weeds can kind of take over, and then we might not see those flowers anymore. So when you do these practices and implement them into your life, it makes those weeds, you're weeding your garden bed, and those flowers just bloom so beautifully. But it is a practice, and I'm not perfect at it. I am human. So it is a practice, and that's okay. When you learn this practice, you also learn not to judge yourself, which is also so freeing. So I want us to just, I'm going to talk very briefly here about why we want to pay attention to our thoughts, because they are so powerful, right? There are stories, they create us. So really think about this. Think about the story you might be currently telling yourself right now, and what stories are shaping your life, relationships, or your destiny, or affecting that desire that you might have. So each one of us lives from a story, a set of stories. And whether we're aware of them or not, most of our stories were crafted a very long time ago. And it's a composite of beliefs, our thought patterns, the ones that are out here constantly talking to us, limitations and norms that we have inherited. So sadly, many of us, those stories originated through words and actions of others. And I want you to know, like, that's absolutely okay. We just assumed that these were our story. And perhaps the stories that you're telling us, just think about it. And I don't want to resonate or dive into this too much, but it could be stories like, this is impossible for me. I'm not good enough. This is a hard, cruel world, and you have to fight to survive, or insert that belief here. And the reason I don't want to talk about that too much is you can probably already feel it when we start talking about that. And I just want you to know we can release those things. So there's no limits, though, and titles to what we write and live by. However, those stories conjure up feelings and those emotions. And that really dictates then how we feel, what we feel, and what we think about, and then how we react. And like the saying goes, our eyes see what the mind looks for. So if the mind's constantly telling you that story, it's going to look for more of that. So it's going to pull more of that in. And what we expect influences what we experience in our life. So really think about that. But it does not have to be that way. And this is so exciting. So we have, at our own power, you have it available to you right at this very moment, to change the stories with a very positive, affirming title, or titles that take us where we are truly destined to go in our life. But it starts with rewriting the stories and jumping into the practices. So doing the practices will change your message and your destination. So if you think of a treasure map, the treasure is the destination on the map. And if you practice, you can go straight there. It's waiting for you. It's so exciting. But first we have to let go of the old programming. We can't wish it away. So however long you want to wish it away, the more that we wish something away, the more we're actually gripping onto it and pulling it closer to us. So it's really just letting go with no judgment and releasing. And as long as we hold on to those stories, we can't get to that treasure on that map, right? So, and it's okay. So this is the problem with the human mind at times. It's not a problem, actually. It's just something that happens. But 90% of our thoughts are just automatic. So they're conscious mind thoughts. They go round and round like old records, and more so unconsciously. Okay. And for the most part, and I think we can all agree on this, we're not using them, they're using us. So it's trying to be, we don't want to identify them. We don't want to let them take control. Again, this is where the practices come in. Okay. So like, how do we regain control? Enough of that, right? So it's very difficult to stop compulsive thinking, or that what I call mind chatter, or the toddler brain, some of us call it, or Brene Brown calls it the gremlins. It's really hard to control that. That's compulsive thinking. So saying you want to doesn't work, because you can't stop a thought with another thought. It just doesn't work that way. The order has to come from a higher level. So you must raise your level of consciousness one step up and imagine that you're observing both the thoughts, okay, and the thinking process itself from a higher level, and being the observer of the thoughts. So just sitting back and observing the thoughts. Now that is what mindfulness is. So through 3 simple practices, you can control these compulsive thoughts, and it will open the door to creativity and abundance and things you never even could have possibly imagined in your life. It's scientifically proven. You can Google it and go check it out. We have over 60,000 thoughts that go through the mind every day. But those thoughts are typically about worry or stress, maybe thinking about yesterday or thinking about what you have to do tomorrow. When we're in that state, we're kind of out here. We're not here in the present moment. So we need to change that course. And I'm going to explain just a little bit about what mindfulness, meditation, and self-hypnosis is, because those are the 3 tools that will really help change that. So mindfulness is basically, it's just an awareness that's cultivated in the very present moment, in a sustained and particular way with absolutely no judgment. There are so many ways to practice mindfulness, and you're in the right spot if you want to learn those tools. So Kate has some great tools to pull in that mindfulness and to stay present. She talks a lot about gratitude and breath work. She has yoga practices you can jump into. And the Hoop Yogini is a great place to go. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love jumping in on Saturday mornings because it helps me pull myself out of here and drop into the body. So mindfulness is observing the thought. And if you think about this, you think, oh, I can be mindful. Or why do we have to be mindful? It's because those thoughts wander, right? So if I asked you to even think about like a pink elephant in the room, we could absolutely think about that for this very second. You could think about that. But if we closed our eyes and for an entire minute tried to just focus on that, the mind would wander. Those are the gremlins. So mindfulness meditation is where we learn a practice to really strengthen the mind, because the mind is like a muscle. So if you want to tone up your arms, you're going to use some weights, right? Every day to strengthen that muscle. It's the same thing with the mind. So the mindfulness meditation is like a push-up. It's like doing push-ups for the brain. And here's something that is absolutely amazing. In 8 weeks, if you practice mindfulness meditation, you can actually shrink the part of the brain that creates stress and anxiety and worry. And in that 8 weeks, you open the part of the brain that brings abundance, awareness, creativity, happiness. So it can happen. But I don't want to overthink the meditation piece. Again, Kate can expand a little bit on that, but it really focuses on just being in the present moment and focusing on the breath work. It has nothing to do, what I want to do here is just tell you we're going to drop all ideas and thoughts about what we think meditation should be. We are not here to look like the perfect model on Yoga Journal magazine. When we drop into a meditation, we just want to make it comfortable for us and just continue a practice that strengthens that muscle. We just want to start with a push-up and then 2 push-ups and then 3, and then in 8 weeks, man, pretty amazing. And then self-hypnosis is very powerful because, as Kate had mentioned, we talked a little bit about that outdated programming. And if this is your subconscious mind and this is your conscious mind, right? The old programming sits in the subconscious, but there's no way to access that unless you remove the conscious mind. But 95% of the time, we're here. If we are awake, we're using the conscious mind. So if there's an old limiting belief that's sitting back here, the only way to access that is through self-hypnosis. And but it's just such an easy, effective way to do it. So there are some very powerful tools sitting here that we can use that will help us rewrite that story. So I just want you to know that you can cultivate practices to completely shift and change your life by being in the present moment, paying attention in a sustained particular way, non-judgmentally, okay? So through all these practices, we can train the mind and free the mind, which makes being mindful in every moment easier. I'm just so excited to share all of these things and these tools with you. If you want more information on that, I do have a wellness page. It's called Red Tail Hawk Hypnosis and Wellness on Facebook. I'd be more than happy to schedule free consultations for self-hypnosis. That is my dream, is to give you these gifts so that you can work in this life in a way where you can bring your light and share your love and be the love that we all deserve. So again, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments, and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can absolutely throw a testimony out there. I have worked with Amanda with self-hypnosis, and it's not hard. You just have to do the work. And Amanda is there to guide you. And then I have been able to reprogram some of the stuff that I was just not able to shift. It was a really powerful and practical. It was a very pimp tool. Very pimp tool. So yeah, and Amanda was talking about the observer, and that is so important too, because when you're in that observation mode, you give yourself an opportunity to check in with the feelings, and your feelings are not running you. You can kind of, be an observer so that you can respond to the situation instead of react, because that's really what we're looking for. Is we want to be able to respond. We want to be able to respond from that heart space. We want to utilize, and I hold it up here because that observer is kind of looking down on the whole situation, kind of like almost removing yourself from the situation and then kind of looking on it from an observer, non-judgmental observer point of view, perspective. And when you're able to do that and work with that observer, again, you're able to drop in, give yourself a moment to drop into your heart space, and then you can respond to whatever life, whatever challenges, whatever life is handing you. And can almost guarantee you that any situation where you're able to be the observer and respond, that situation is going to go 100 times better for you than if you were to just react just react. And like Amanda mentioned too, it's a muscle. So and she said 1 push-up and then 2 push-ups the next day. It's the same thing with the observer. And you have to strengthen the observer in order to be able to have that observer perform. So one of the ways that you can kind of help strengthen your observer is the simple things, and deepening into some of this idea of mindfulness. Sometimes it can be like, what do I do? So for instance, when we're doing laundry, when we're folding laundry, or when you're washing dishes, or some of those mundane tasks that your mind automatically is like, oh yeah, like your body doesn't necessarily need your mind. So your mind's like, cool, I'm going to go off and run around in my 700,000 thoughts for the day. Cool. Instead of letting your mind do that, wash your dishes. Be the best dishwasher that you can possibly be. Be present in that moment. What's the temperature of the water? What do the bubbles smell like? How does this feel to be accomplishing this task? Really be present for dishwashing. Be present for folding those clothes. You can also maybe even bring in a little bit of that gratitude, because sometimes in those tasks we're like, I don't want to do this. But when you're folding laundry and being mindful about folding that, being grateful for these pieces of fabric that cover your skin and provide you warmth, and fashion and confidence, so those are just like a couple of ideas on how to maybe strengthen that observer, and again, start to really work with the mind, deepen into the mindfulness. And with mindfulness, meditation, self-hypnosis, we don't practice these things to get good at them. We don't practice meditation to get good at meditation. We don't practice mindfulness to get good at it. We do those things to get good at life. So, again, like Amanda said, drop the judgment, okay? You're not meditating wrong, and you don't have to look like some beautiful goddess sitting on top of a lotus. If you have your messy bun that a squirrel could live in and you're in 3-day-old pajamas, sit down and breathe. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be, because that's your mind. That's your mind trying to stay in those outdated programmings. Yep. It's all. So you sit down, get quiet, let yourself breathe. And again, 5 minutes, even 2 minutes, start with 1 push-up and work your way up to 50. You don't have to do 50 push-ups right away. You don't have to sit and meditate for an hour right away. I don't even sit and meditate for an hour at this point still. So now we've covered goals and intentions. We have covered mindfulness. We have covered meditation. We have covered self-hypnosis, all as really effective ways to work with your mind. So let's just take a moment and let all of that integrate. Again, I'm going to invite you to just uncross your legs. Let some length happen in your spine. Take a couple of deep breaths and just resonate. Let whatever resonated with you land. We're not going to be concerned too much about trying to pick it all apart and remember it all. What was meant for you will land and resonate, giving some space for that to do so. One more big good breath. Awesome. So now we're going to share, as we wrap up here, a couple of simple techniques that you can start using today to start working to shape your mind for the better. And of course, Amanda and I also have a lot of tools in our belt that we would love to help you employ for yourself. Like she mentioned before, the self-hypnosis, the nutrition education, all of the things, as well as the yoga classes, the hoop yogini. Again, our tool belts are full, and we are so deeply devoted to sharing that with anybody who is looking for those tools to expand and grow and heal, right? Mm-hmm. So let's work on this. Amanda's going to kind of show you what this looks like as I guide you through it. So you're already sitting, and you've already kind of been introduced to this posture of present moment awareness. So this is something that we use in the hoop yogini world. In the center of our hoop, our hands are at 3 and 9, and our feet are planted and rooted, and we're stacked, and we're just dropping into the present moment. So from the seated position, which is probably where you're going to want to do this, you want to have your feet planted in the earth. You want to make sure that your seat is firmly rooted. No slouching. So of course you want to make sure that that spine has length. I always think of a nice line from the crown to the tailbone. And, check in with your neck. See if you can bring the chin parallel with the earth and the ears are over the shoulders. And that crown is, reaching out, opening up for all of that higher awareness. And as you close your eyes and settle in, then notice your seat. Notice the feet in the earth. Notice your body first. As you start to notice your body, use your breath to become more fully present in this moment. Nice big full inhale all the way, filling the belly, filling the chest, holding that breath at the top. And then as you exhale, exhale and release. Release any tightness in the body. Maybe the shoulders are still kind of scrunched up. Let the shoulders relax. Maybe the jaw is clenched. See if you can drop the jaw. And continue breathing. Continue taking full breaths and noticing as you exhale where you can release a little bit more tension or even become aware of it. You can add in an affirmation to help keep the focus and the breath on the present moment. I really like inhaling, I am here, exhaling, in this now. I am here, in this now. I am here, in this now. I am here, in this now. And now just take a moment to notice what you notice. Maybe you were able to cultivate a little bit more peace just in this moment. And you can, when you do this for yourself, you can always set an alarm for a certain point of the day so that you can make sure you have that spot in the day for yourself, because that's, that's self-care, that's self-love, dropping in for a moment, checking in. And, you can sit there for 2 minutes. You can, again, set a timer so you don't have to worry about it. You can sit there as long as you want to. Make this your tool. Your tool. It gets to look like whatever it looks like to benefit you. So that posture of present moment awareness, just sitting with that spine aligned, really focusing in on the breath, focusing in on the body parts, because that really helps us to drop into the body and drop into that present moment awareness. And then, of course, I am here in this now is a really great affirmation, again, to kind of help keep the mind focused and quiet instead of starting to roll and run. And, just know that you're never going to be able to quiet all of your thoughts. So don't think that you're going to be able to get everything quiet. It's just really, you're not going to be able to shut it off, but you will be able to turn the volume down a little bit. So the other 2 things that I really wanted to impress upon you is that gratitude journaling can be a really, really, really easy, valuable tool. Sit down, 5 things, write that you're gratitude for, and it doesn't have to be big things. You can be grateful that you woke up and you were breathing today. Sometimes I'm grateful for the warm cup of coffee. Sometimes I'm grateful for my house. Sometimes I'm grateful for bigger things. Whatever comes up, again, practice the non-judgment. Write it down, step into that energy of gratitude. And that really does shift. It just shifts. And you're bringing your focus into those positive things. Our mind is just predispositioned to negativity. And so when we start to reprogram and kind of refocus on the positive, that creates new connections, that creates that energy of a positive mindset. And you're able, again, to set that intention to perceive and see the things that are good and fill you with joy instead of, focusing on the things that you're trying to change. And, like Amanda said, holding on to that and wishing it away is drawing it closer. So get out that gratitude journal. And again, don't make it a big deal. Your mind is going to try and make it a big deal, so you don't do it. So just do it. So yeah, like I said, don't make it a big deal. Give yourself a chance, non-judgment, all kinds of just support that we're communicating today. And I think that sometimes when we get going, we get really passionate and we're like, oh, I just want to share all the things, but we're really trying to not overwhelm. That's not the point, right? Take what resonates and leave the rest. The rest will be here when it's time for you to pick that up. So whatever is resonating with you today, hold on to that, take that with you. And Amanda, did you have any other suggestions for our back cavers today about practices, tools, or any last thoughts here?
The only thing I just wanted to say is exactly what you just said. So after I got done talking, I thank you for saying that, because I do get so passionate about this that sometimes I get too much information out there, and a confused mind is an undecided mind. So if that's where you're at, what I would really challenge you to do is, if you're not sure where to start, we do free discovery calls. So you can set up a call and we can easily just lay it out for you. Like, this is okay. We're just going to start with a gratitude practice and maybe some breath and things that make it easy. In fact, even when I do self-hypnosis and teach people those steps, the practices are literally like 2 to 10 minutes a day. So it's not as overwhelming as maybe it sounds when we're talking about it. So please just know in your heart that it's easier than you think. Don't judge, no judgment on yourself. And we're here to help you exercise that observer, because truly where the magic lies in that gratitude practice and those things, when you pull that in, you're pulling into receiving. You're opening up your heart to receive the things that you deserve. And that's what we want to bring to you, is we want you to be able to feel that love and pull in that abundance that you deserve. So I think that was all I really just wanted to say, is that it's just, we love you more than you could even possibly know. Mm-hmm. And that we're here to help you, and just relax into that. Oh, okay. We can set up some systems that are very effective yet really easy, and just feel good. Feel so good.
Yeah, because that's the ultimate goal, is to operate as the pleasure beings that we were meant to be. So again, like I said, if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, take what resonated, leave the rest. It'll be here. We're here for you as well. And again, if you need a consultation call, I know Amanda offers those. I offer those as well. So we're here for you. So to wrap up today, I'd like to share this story. I really like this story, and I really think that it resonates with what we're doing here today. So I'm going to read this to you. Two teenagers asked their father if they could go to the theater to watch a movie that all their friends had seen. After hearing and reading some reviews about the movie on the internet, the father denied the teenagers' requests. "Aw, Dad, why not?" they complained. "It's rated PG and 13, and we're both older than 13. Dad replied, "Because the movie contains nudity and portrays immorality as being normal and acceptable behavior." "But Dad, those are just small parts of the movie. That's what our friends who have seen it have told us. The movie is 2 hours long, and those scenes are just a few minutes of the total film. It's actually based on a true story, and good triumphs over evil, and there are other redeeming themes like courage and self-sacrifice. Even the Christian movie review websites say that. They say it's good." "My answer is no, and that is my final answer," the father said. "You are welcome to stay home tonight, invite some of your friends over, and watch one of the good videos we have in our home collection. But you will not go and watch that film. End of story." The two teenagers walked dejectedly into the family room and slumped down on the couch. As they sulked, they were surprised to hear the sounds of their father preparing something in the kitchen. They soon recognized the wonderful aroma of brownies baking in the oven, and one of the teenagers said to the other, Dad must be feeling guilty, and now he's going to try and make it up to us with some fresh brownies. Maybe we can soften him with lots of praise when he brings them out and persuade him to let us go to that movie after all. The teens were not disappointed. Soon their father appeared with a plate of warm brownies that he offered to his kids. They each took one. Then the father said, Before you eat, I want to tell you something. I love you both very much. The teenagers smiled at each other with knowing glances. Dad was softening. That's why I have made these brownies with the very best ingredients. I've made them from scratch. Most of the ingredients are even organic. The best organic flour, the best free-range eggs, the best organic sugar, premium vanilla and chocolate. The brownies looked mouth-watering, and the teens began to become a little impatient with their dad's long speech. But I want to be perfectly honest with you. There is one ingredient that I added that is not usually found in brownies. I got that ingredient from our own backyard. But you don't need to worry, because I only added the tiniest bit of that ingredient to your brownies. The amount of the portion is practically insignificant. So go ahead and take a bite. Let me know what you think. Dad, would you mind telling us what the mystery ingredient is before we eat it? Why? The portion I added was so small. It's just a teaspoonful. You won't even taste it. Oh, come on, Dad. Just tell us what the ingredient is. Oh, don't worry. It's organic, just like all the other ingredients. Dad. Okay, well, if you insist, the secret ingredient is organic dog poop. Both teens instantly dropped their brownies back onto the plate and began inspecting their fingers with terror. Dad, why would you do that? You tortured us by making us smell these brownies cooking for the last half an hour, and now you tell us you added dog poop? We can't eat these brownies. Well, why not? The father replied. The amount of dog poop is very small compared to the rest of the ingredients. It won't hurt you. It's been cooked along with the other ingredients. You won't even taste it. It has the same consistency as the brownies. Go ahead, eat. No, Dad, never. Well, that's the same reason I won't allow you to go watch the movie. You won't tolerate a little dog poop in your brownies, so why would you tolerate a little bit of immorality in your movies? We pray that God will not lead us into temptation, so how can we, in good conscience, entertain ourselves with something that will imprint a sinful image on our minds that will lead us into temptation long after we see it? So yeah, do you want to be a dog shit brownie? No. I don't think any of us want any dog shit in our brownies, right? So that really, the trifecta, as we're nourishing our bodies, as we're strengthening our minds, as we're connecting and strengthening our souls and that voice, be really aware of what ingredients you are putting into your brownie, because it makes a difference. Even if you can't taste it, even if it's the same consistency, it will make a difference. So, Amanda, I know you have an invitation for our Bat Cavers today. Would you like to share that with them before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would just invite you to, you okay? Just invite you all to my wellness page. Please come in and check it out. Red Tail Hawk Hypnosis and Wellness. Just share little tidbits of positivity, of wellness, and invite you into that space as well. And also, just like I'd mentioned before, I do free consultations. So please, if interested and just want to learn more, discover more, do not hesitate to private message me and set up a phone call or a video message. I'd be happy to do that. Thank you so much for being in this space today. Thank you, Kate, so much for inviting me in here. This truly is an honor. This is my passion inside and out. And it is my goal in life to just try to help one person at a time realize their full potential and maybe just learn a practice that they weren't aware of that releases that. So thank you so much. It's such an honor.
So welcome. Thank you for being here today and sharing all of your wisdom and your passion and your knowledge. And yeah, it's amazing what happens when you sit in circles of women who are committed to personal growth. The conversation is different and the support is invaluable.